You could buy a lot of peacocks for $5,000.
How much is a pig? How much is a baby pig?
Oh, are we really doing this? Okay,
Well, shit,
fine.
I didn't know it was that cheap. If a pig is less than $200,
Oh, man.
I'm going to do it. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, we're everybody.
Oh.
I forgot.
Hey.
You got Connor, Ann. Hi, that's me. Nathaniel, Diana, and Kenny. And today we are going to talk about traveling with your pets. I want to say pets because it can be more than just a dog, right? Right.
So I hear.
Right.
We're confirmed. So yeah, just the other day I was talking about this with a friend of mine and I was thinking like, what are the rules and like what can you do and what can't you do? Because I feel like the rules surrounding travel and pets is confusing and contradictory, honestly. I read like 10 different articles online and they all said different information. So we're going to clear it up today. But I've never traveled with a dog, but I have traveled with Ned, my cat, my pseudo dog. I bought him in Australia because I lived alone and I wanted something to be excited to see me when I get home. Aww. Which usually that isn't why people buy cats. But I was like, I could technically leave out like a mixing bowl of water and a mixing bowl of food and leave him for a few days and he'd be fine. And that's exactly what I did when I bought him. Like the first thing I did was say like, okay, bye. And I went on like a 3-day trip and came back and he was like, oh, you left. So it really was the perfect pet for me at the time. Cats don't give a shit. They really don't.
They're the best. I love them.
I know. Like the fact that you have to earn their love. I love that. Love that.
There's an old
Working
saying.
for it.
Have you guys heard that saying? Like a dog is like, you feed me, you love me, you pet me, you know, you give me everything I need. You must be God. A cat's like, you feed me, you love me, you pet me. I must be God.
It's true. That's exactly how he acts, little entitled little shit. I would die for him though. Okay. But like, so I bought him and then didn't even really think about the fact that I wasn't going to live in Australia for the rest of my life. So 14 months later, I had to pay, well, guess how much I had to pay to bring him back to America? Just guess.
1 million.
$17?
I'm going to split the difference and go $17.01.
Oh shit, that's good.
Oh,
That's
he
a great
always
guess.
takes the over.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Nah, it was a whopping $1,200.
Oh my God.
I could have bought a laptop.
That's love, Ned. He better not mess up.
He's still a little brat too. He doesn't know all I've done for him. But what I did, because I just didn't want to do anything, I didn't want to mess anything up. There's like so many steps that you need to go through in order to do this properly. So I actually hired a pet traveling service. That was the best thing I ever could have done, especially like flying internationally with a pet. You have to make sure you have the right vaccinations, which is usually like a rabies and a normal annual vaccination, and then health certificates. So they took care of all of that for me. But yeah, the documents you will need totally depend on where you're flying to and from. So just make sure you do your research before flying because all the airlines are different. But I used JetPets, shout out, which was the service, the pet traveler service that I used, and they took care of everything for me. So he had his own little plane ticket and boarding pass, and actually his flight was a day later than mine. So I got a girlfriend to take him for a day, and they scooped him up from her house and took him straight to the airport, which is so cute.
Oh my gosh.
So I didn't have to worry about anything. And just like, if I could have gotten like a physical boarding pass for his flight, I would frame it.
Oh my God, like Ned in a taxi, Ned at TSA.
Now that would be good content. Just like Ned living his life in the airport. We'll get there.
Like
I'll make that
Ned
happen.
eating Biscoff cookies or like little goldfish.
Ned
Just
at the
waiting in
airport.
line at Chick-fil-A at the airport.
Goldfish. Live or the crackers?
Yeah, good one. He likes both, actually. He eats everything. I feed him like little pieces of my pizza sometimes. He's like, oh, yeah. But so what happens is he flies in his own carrier and stuff in the bottom of the plane. then you're told to pick them up from a cargo terminal, which is like a short drive from the airport, but all the pets get shipped there and like their airline approved crates. So I pull up to the cargo place, I wait in a long ass line, and I finally get to head over to grab him, and there's like a ton of animals in there, dare I say, not being taken care of like the precious cargo they are, which is sad, but it's just the way it is. So think about that. Like, it is not a wonderful experience for these pets to fly internationally. So, you know, pick and choose. Obviously, if you're moving like me, you had no choice. What was I going to do? Like, leave my son in Australia? Absolutely not. But I pick him up. He's like completely covered in pee. Poor thing. You know, he's just like shaking. He's like, what the fuck? So I got like a bunch of Lysol wipes from the cargo place. I was like, you're giving me something to wipe him off right now. I was like, look at this guy. Poor little dude. So I called an Uber, and the Uber dropped me off at Chipotle. I didn't even end up getting Chipotle. I just was like, I need to go somewhere and get him like bathed somehow. So we like passed a Chipotle, and I saw like a spigot, like a hose on the back. And I was like, pull over. So Ned and I like hopped out. I like put him in his little crate and just left him behind the Chipotle while I like went inside and just pumped a bunch of like foam soap from the bathroom in my hands. I was like, can no one steal him while I'm gone, please? And I came out there, just gave him a little bath behind a Chipotle. And then we like Ubered back to the airport, and he was just like happy as a fucking clam. He was like all clean and clearly thought I'd never ever pick him up ever again. And yeah, it was great. It was a great experience. And then the rest of the time, like the flight from LA to Florida, he was an angel. He was just like so happy that he saw me again, that he was so well behaved. He like sat on my lap at the gate, and all these people were like, that is the most well-behaved cat I've ever seen in my life. So,
I can confirm. He is a sack of potatoes, but like 5 times lighter. He's like really sweet. He'll just like, I was over at Connor Ann's place, and I could scoop him up in my hands, and he would just be like, yes, let me. I'm comfortable in this position. No squirming, which is crazy for a cat. They are known for their squirminess. I mean, I don't know. He's an angel. He's so cute.
We call him Noodle because he just like, his body just like goes limp. And so Diana's just carrying him around like a noodle around my house all day. I loved it. But yeah, that is my only traveling with pets story that I got. Other than that, have you guys ever traveled with a dog or a pet of any kind?
Not yet.
Nope.
But you want to?
We're looking into it.
Yeah. Pippa's got to see snow somehow.
Yes.
Yeah, Pippa's on a mission to see snow. She's encountered pretty much everything else, but I blame TikTok for this because we follow this one guy, and he's been hiking with his dog in the snow, and now my wife is on a mission to have my golden retriever play in the snow.
That would be a video I'd like to see.
It may be coming to a TikTok near you.
There you go. At Pippa the Golden. Go follow her.
She has a few followers.
She's a total celebrity.
Yeah, she's 33,000 deep and gets sent like dog treats and stuff in the mail. It's really creepy and weird.
She has like sponsorships. She's an ambassador.
We're working on a few things.
Well, then we definitely have to take her into an airport.
I know.
We'll go on like a travel nerds trip, and everyone has to bring their animal.
I would support that. Yeah, that would be awesome. Pippa and Bisky will just be brawling. They'll be thrown out of every place that we go into because all they do is they like fight and wrestle and chase the ball with each other. So we'll definitely be kicked out of a few spots, but it'll be worth it for the content, I think. Get
kicked out of the Amex lounge at the airport. Okay, Kenny, give me like the full rundown of flying with your dog. Like, what should people be preparing for? So the long and short of it is, can you fly with your pet? The answer is yes, but there's a bunch of caveats. So small dogs, cats, and household birds can travel with your pet, with you in the cabin.
but they must be able to fit in a ventilated kennel, and that has to be able to fit under the seat in front of you. So most airlines recommend that kennel is a 11 by 18 by 11. There is a one-way fee associated with traveling with your pet in the cabin, and that's usually paid at check-in. And then there are limits to where the animal can actually sit with you too. So, for example, you can't book Delta One in a lay flat seat and take your bird, your cat, or your dog. There are a bunch of limits. Like I don't think they can sit in exit row seats. They can't be with you in bulkhead seats. So my recommendation is check with the airline, check with their policy, because every airline has a few different wrinkles. But for between $95 and $125, you can travel with your dog, cat, or household bird.
That is the bird thing. It's just so bizarre.
And
Why
birds
are they looped into that?
I don't know. It's like, do you really want Toucan Sam flying in the cabin with you? No.
Actually, you could have picked a lamer bird. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's true. But it is very specifically household birds, which I didn't know was a category until we started talking about this.
Yeah, wait, so we're talking like parakeet, not macaw. Is that the idea?
Like a bald eagle, probably not going to fly.
I mean, it'll
Also
fly,
get arrested
but it won't be allowed
in
on
the
plane.
airport for domesticating a bald eagle.
Yeah, that could open a whole can of worms there.
Which the bird would love. So, Kenny, what is like the average fee for flying with your pet in cabin?
Yeah, so it used to be $125, but Delta just lowered it to $95. So somewhere around that $100 mark for most airlines. It can vary from airline to airline, but $100 to $25 all the way down to $75 to $85.
Nice. Okay. Nathaniel, from my understanding, you used to be able to travel with emotional support animals, but
You are correct.
some shit hit the fan. You gotta tell the people what
So
happened.
let's keep talking birds for a second, because birds ruined everything. Birds in New Jersey. Sorry, all you New Jerseyans. But there was an incident in 2018 at the Newark airport, which is the most middle airport of airports that you can go to. But this is where it all went down, because a lady specifically tried to bring a emotional support peacock on the plane with her on an
You heard him
American
right.
Airlines flight. Yes, a peacock, feathers.
That's not real.
All that.
That can't be real.
It is 100% real. American Airlines was like, no, you can't bring this emotional support peacock on this flight with you.
But it says birds.
Yeah, no, legitimately, I don't know, because this was, prior to this, it was sort of a free-for-all, and most people, when it came to emotional support animals, stuck with pretty basic animals. I mean, you had people, try and bring emotional support pigs places. I know, Diana, you've run into them. Because there's pigs everywhere, especially in this podcast. But the problem, here's what peeves me off a little bit about this story, was because after this, American Airlines was like, yeah, we got to tighten this up. And so the airline industry as a whole band together and we're like, yeah, emotional support animals, it's too broad. We're going to kind of, lay off of that. If it's a service animal, that's a different thing, but emotional support animals are no longer a blanket category to get you in. But this peacock, as it turned out, people later found out, was a performance artist peacock. So a Brooklyn-based artist, bought this peacock for an art installation she was doing.
Ooh.
And she was like, I love this peacock, I'm going to keep it. And so it sort of became like a performance art piece to travel with this peacock. And so she took it everywhere, including New Jersey, and then ended up having to drive out of New Jersey rather than fly because American Airlines said they didn't want that on their plane. So as it turns out, not everything is legal in New Jersey. Flying with a peacock, not legal in New Jersey.
How much does it cost to buy a peacock?
That's a great question.
We'll link
I
it in the
have
show
never
notes.
personally. I think everyone should place their bets.
Okay, I'm going to go without looking because I just Googled it, but I hadn't looked yet.
Oh.
I'm going to go.
I Googled it and it was like $4.99 a month because that's the Peacock service.
I was like, shut up. You can do it in installations.
Peacock as a service. It's actually Animal as a service, $4.99 a month, and you can get a Peacock.
And you can cancel it whenever you want.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's Peacock Plus for you guys.
Oh my God. Just like the fact that like American Airlines was like, we never saw this coming when we made these rules.
Oh my God. Okay. So thank you, Google. But it looks like the internet has returned us the answer. A Peacock cost as little as $35, but as much as $275.
No, I said
Yeah.
$5,000.
Yeah.
No, you could buy a lot of peacocks for $5,000.
How much is a pig? How much is a baby pig?
Oh, are we really doing this? Okay,
Well, shit,
fine.
I didn't know it was that cheap. If a pig is less than $200,
Oh man.
I'm gonna do it.
I bet that's like $5.
They can't be.
dollars.
So what I'm
$50 to $2,000.
well, look, you don't need a prize winning pig. This isn't the Northeast.
Yeah, I just need a little Weasley one. I
Yeah.
specifically actually want the runt if I can get my hands on it.
Actually, okay, so teacup pigs will cost you between $1,200 and $6,500 a pop. That's like a designer dog.
Zam.
Wow. So you
That's
just need
what
to
I
be
thought.
To Australia and then take him back again.
you need to be okay with this pig growing to full size, and then you can get one for as low as $50. And I think that's a steal. I mean, if you're talking entry level pig or peacock is $50. That's not bad. Now, from what I'm understanding, the cost of maintaining a peacock is a lot more than like a dog or a cat. There's not like a
Right.
peacock aisle at your local PetSmart or anything. So I think that's where the cost might get a little steeper.
Yes, I forgot about like feather maintenance and whatnot.
Hey, can you
Feather
clean my
dusting.
feathers, Mom?
I think Ned would be pissed if I got a peacock, so we can't. But anyways, you guys get the point. This lady tried to bring an effing peacock on a plane, saying that she needed it for emotional support. And it turns out this peacock's actually just a pop star, and his name is Dexter. And American Airlines was like, absolutely not. Who do you think you are? So they didn't end up flying. But I just love that story. God, I love that story. It's so
That's
good.
incredible.
Diana, what about service animals? Not emotional support peacocks, but real certified service animals. What's the deal there?
Okay, just like what to do when, you want to take them on the plane with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, how do they fly, and what are the rules about flying with them?
So it seems like they have to be like vaccinated. You have to like have all their papers and stuff like that. You definitely have to call the airlines ahead of time, get them in there. They're not permitted to sit in the seat. They can sit on the floor or in the passenger's lap. But yeah, for most airlines, you have to fill out a form, alert the airline prior to flying, and just basically do this early because I think there's like limited seating for this as well. And I do wonder how they account for like people with like dog allergies. So I don't know exactly that process, but yeah, it seems like they're allowed on airplanes, allowed in restaurants and stores. They're supposed to fly with you and not really in a kennel.
Now, do they fly free of charge, or do you have to pay the same fee as other animals?
Well, so when it comes to fees, if it's a trained service animal, for example, Delta and United, there is no fee to travel with your dog. That will be pretty consistent across the board of what I found with most airlines, because you can't discriminate and make things more costly for people with disabilities. And that's why the dog is there, right? It's working, it's with that person helping them. So there is no fee to travel with your service animal. But if you want to put your leisure animal companion underneath the seat, that's when it'll cost you between $95 and $125, depending on the airline.
Which is hearing
That's
you
crazy.
say it's working is so cute. Like, he's on the clock. I love it.
Yeah, I actually had a professor in college, and she was blind, and she had a service dog, a black lab. It was like adorable, but she would say when he's working, do not pet him. So you'll see a lot of the service dogs travel with like vests that note them as service animals, and you are not supposed to go and interact with them while they're on the clock working.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's so hard not to, but I definitely know that that's a no-no. Like when I'm at a restaurant and I see it and it's just like making eye contact with me and I know I can't pet him. Ugh, so hard.
I have that struggle with the bomb sniffing dogs at airports because they're always the most serious professional dogs, but always the cutest. And sometimes they'll have like a bomb sniffing puppy in training.
No.
And it's really hard to have like a normal attitude. Because it's like, this is a serious dog doing serious things, but also it's the cutest dog you will ever see doing anything.
It's like
Wow.
that dog has more authority than any other.
Oh my word, that dog
Animal.
can get me arrested, I'm pretty sure. Can read me,
Dog
can read me
put
my
in
rights.
jail.
I can smell my ibuprofen. Oh no.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so funny. That dog is like, you have the right to remain silent.
So
I would go with it.
So I know there's actually there's this whole like etiquette with service dogs and emotional support animals. So like what you just said about not touching it when it's on the clock, doing its job. But there's also like when you are the one in let's say like a hospitality role. I used to work at Disney guest relations, and I would see like a lot of people come up with service animals. One time there was a service pig, but it was wearing a tutu, and I was like, ma'am, can I see its papers? I don't think she had papers. She was just trying to get it by the Epcot gate there. We had to kindly decline her pig entry.
She's like, but look at him. Look at
Yeah.
him. He's wearing a tutu. He got all dressed up for this. Let him in.
But you're not allowed, like as someone in like hospitality or just someone checking in someone with a service animal, you're not allowed to ask like, hey, what's he for? That's like a big no-no. You're not allowed to say like, what is your... Basically, you're saying, like, what is your ailment? What is your, what is wrong with you? And
No,
you
you're
can't
so
say
right.
that. Yeah, so that's part of that etiquette I think is interesting. So it's like a weird balance. It's like a dance. Like if you say, hey, I have an emotional support animal or just a regular service dog, you just have to, like, check it in. Don't ask that many questions. But you do need, like, some sort of, like, baseline paperwork. So that's kind of, like, that etiquette there.
Yes, and you should have it, but yeah, you're right. Like I worked at a lot of restaurants and they're like, this is my emotional support cat. And I'm like, okay, I literally can't ask you. Like I'm not allowed to ask you for your papers at a restaurant. You're just like, sure, come on in.
Doth he have his papers?
You can buy vests online that just say service animal, even if it's a complete lie.
I know.
Maybe I shouldn't have said that. We can edit that
Pro
out.
tip. No,
Pro tip.
totally kidding.
Please don't do that.
So please don't do that.
Don't be shitty, y'all.
And do not cite us as like, oh, we got the idea from the Travel Nerds podcast. But Diana does bring up a fairly good point, is that there is no professional certification for your dog to be a service animal. It's set up like that because the government set up the rules like that because they don't want to discriminate against disabled people, and they didn't want to put cost involved. So if you created like licensing and cost and training courses that you must go to and pay, then it would be borderline unfair for people with disabilities. So you can actually like self-train and self-certify your dog, but it's not, I think that you just have to do it the right way, because if you misrepresent it, you do run into the law, and you don't want to do that.
Good thing to say. Yes. Don't be like that, people. You already know it's wrong. The people who are doing it, they know. They know it's wrong.
Yeah, and even worse than that,
also,
it's like,
I think...
oh, sorry. I was just going to say, like, but like if you're kind of like faking it, then you're also taking it away from people who actually do need it. So like that's like also a big thing, especially on an airplane when there's limited seating for service animals.
Absolutely. Don't be a jerk. Something to mention too, many airlines stopped flying snub-nosed dogs, which that's like, like a pug or a Boston Terrier, boxer, bulldog, those kind of dogs. They have short muzzles, so they're called brachiocephalic breeds, meaning they have a harder time breathing. So like travel's complicated for them. So if you have any of those kinds of dogs, knowing that they are short muzzle dogs, or if you don't know, give it a Google. But there are some airlines that still do fly these breeds in cabin. They just have to meet the airline pet cabin policy. So give it a Google before you hop on your plane and make sure, because actually Ned is a brachiocephalic breed.
No
As
way.
a cat. His little like snubby face was something I had to deal with when I flew him. So they were like, he might have breathing problems. And I was like, I will absolutely sue you if he dies on this plane. I was like, Ned is everything. And what do I need to do to confirm that he will be okay?
I want to know, so Kenny, as the travel company representative that has done the most around flying people, and I assume animals places, what's the most animals you've had to deal with at once?
So we did get a request recently for one of our clients who wanted to fly 89 dogs on a plane.
Whoa.
Oh.
Now, we put that in our company Slack, and suddenly we had all these people that wanted to take a free trip to Mexico with the 89 dogs. But yeah, that is definitely the oddest request. And then that's how we found out about a bunch of the rules. Like, you can either charter a plane, which is insanely expensive, or you have to basically fly them in groups of like 6 to 10, because different airlines have different policies on how many dogs that they would allow. But yeah, 89 dogs on a plane, definitely the weirdest one that we've seen.
Are they in cabin or in cargo? Are they just like sitting in seats like human beings, like drinking a Diet Coke? Or are they like in
That's
a
what
carrier?
I'm picturing. Like
That's what I'm picturing,
I'm
too.
picturing like the private jet that you see in the movies, but it's just dogs sitting in all of the seats, and like they're bringing little platters with like a bowl to drink out of. That'd be amazing.
The bar cart comes by and starts like giving out treats. I like
Yes.
that.
Bark cart.
Diana's so good at those.
There it is.
Yeah, and they all have like sunglasses because they're going to Mexico for vacation. They're ready for like some tequila. They're ready for some tacos.
Yes.
So
This would
yeah,
make a great video.
oh my God, fantastic.
But aren't those weren't normal dogs on that contract, right? These were like police officer boys.
So these were DEA dogs. So I would imagine that going to Mexico, if you saw 10 DEA dogs just sitting there, there would be a few people that just were like, oh, I'm not feeling so well, and they're not going to get on the flight. 'Cause
Wow.
if you're transporting something to Mexico, you probably don't want like 6 to 10 DEA drug sniffing dogs to be on your flight with you.
Who needs an air marshal when you have a DEA dog sitting in the first seat? Give him seat 1A. He'll just sit there and be the deterrent.
Now, they can't sit in the bulkhead, so they need to be in 2A.
Yeah. They don't get to be first class, remember. Which is honestly really discriminating. They deserve it.
Yeah, like who's bringing the dog class action that they don't get to fly Delta One in the lay flat beds?
Could be us.
Pippa.
Yeah, Pippa files a lawsuit. Oh, man. But yeah, I think we covered pretty much everything, right? There's not that much to flying with your dog. It's just that all of the airlines are different. So as we've mentioned, Google, and make sure that you have all the requirements before you show up to the airport, because they will 1,000% turn you away if you don't have everything sorted first.
And let the airline know ahead of time. So if you're traveling with a pet, no surprises, contact the airline, let them know. If it's a service animal, there's forms that you're going to need to fill out. And just make sure, even if you're flying with it under your seat back, that there's no special forms or that the airline doesn't make you jump through any hoops. So just do your homework and plan ahead.
Yes, and book your flight and your pup or cat or bird's flight at the exact same time, because you don't want any add-ons. You want it all to go smoothly. Do it at the same time in advance. Awesome. Well, that is all we have today for flying with your dog. We will do another one perhaps in the future about all the insane animals that people have flown with, because There is an article online that has a hilarious picture of an anteater flying in cabin. I will post that on social media for everyone to see. It's hysterical. But yeah, that's all we have today for Flying with Your Dog. And listen, next week we have an awesome interview with Danielle Pearson. She's a travel advisor. And have a good week. Later, nerds.